Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. MALLOR GRODNER Attorneys providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Alumni Association connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. Alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.
Coming up on Indiana Newsdesk. Health officials continue to stress the importance of social distancing to slow the spread of the coronavirus. But that's not possible in confined spaces like jails and prisons.
It's inevitable that we're going to have some infection. It could have been very well brought in by staff.
Farmers markets are forced to reimagine how they've traditionally operated.
We rely 100% on the market, and the market is our sole outlet.
Some Brown County officials are asking the governor to intervene to keep tourists from flocking to their community and possibly bringing the virus with them. And there's new guidance about who should wear face masks and when. Ahead, how to make one with just a few things that you already have in your house. Those stories and much more right now on Indiana Newsdesk. Welcome to Indiana Newsdesk. I'm Joe Wren. State health officials say in the last week, nearly 200 Hoosiers have died from COVID-19. That brings the state's total death toll to 300. The number of cases in Indiana is about 7,000, but the State Department of Health is reporting only 35,000 people have been tested. Data from the State Department of Health shows Indiana is testing fewer people for COVID-19 per 100,000 residents than all its neighboring states and the U.S. as a whole. State Health Commissioner Dr. Chris Bach says the state has struggled with resources to do enough tests, though it's increasing its capacity.
So we're really trying to remove any restrictions for people as far as testing anybody who's symptomatic. We're also trying to make sure that we get out and test in some communities where we know that there is a higher risk just based on looking at our numbers.
Box did not say when asked whether Indiana will ever be able to test anyone who wants one. Governor Eric Holcomb is urging Indiana churches, synagogues, and other faith venues to remain closed and adhere to social distancing guidelines during Passover and Easter. Holcomb says services should be held online. For churches holding drive-in or drive-up services, people should remain in their vehicles and have no physical interaction with others. Holcomb says he hopes law enforcement won't have to break up church services violating the stay-at-home order. At least a dozen inmates in Indiana have tested positive for the coronavirus, as well as several dozen staff. Adam Pinsker tells us what the state is doing to keep inmates and correctional staff safe from the virus when social distancing isn't an option in confined spaces.
The Indiana Department of Health has sent strike teams into correctional facilities around the state to help isolate and identify inmates who are sick. Rarely is a jail or prison inmate not under observation, but correction staff are on the lookout for what can't be seen by the naked eye.
They ask if you've been out of the country, if you have a high fever, or things like that.
Monroe County Sheriff Brad Swain says those are the first questions asked of inmates when they are booked into his jail.
We have a men's quarantine and a women's quarantine cell block, so we monitor them and quarantine them for 14 days.
We wanted to ask the state what kinds of precautions it was taking in the prison system, but the Indiana Department of Corrections declined our request for an interview. But at a news conference on April 3rd, officials acknowledged they were stepping up their efforts after the first cases of COVID-19 were reported at 2 state correctional facilities.
We are also encouraging hand washing, soap, cough hygiene, providing them with hand sanitizer, deep cleaning the facilities. So I can assure you we are doing all that we can for those those we serve.
Earlier this week, Indiana Department of Corrections officials emailed us a link to this March 3rd memo titled Pandemic Preparedness and Response Plan. It calls for separating ill offenders, implementing social distancing when a few offenders are ill, and setting up isolation housing units when a substantial number of inmates are ill. The document does not specify what constitutes a substantial number, but a prison watchdog group is skeptical these safety measures are being practiced in every correctional facility.
We're getting reports that there are sick inmates and they're not being tested. They're still free to roam about with other inmates. They're not being quarantined at all. They're not getting any help.
Kelly Miller is president of Indiana Prison Advocates, a group that lobbies for the rights of those behind bars. Miller says the state should test the sickest inmate for COVID-19, which would determine if the whole cell block has it.
We're concerned about the guards as well, catching it and taking it home to family and spreading it around their community too.
In Monroe County, Sheriff Swain says each jail deputy or staff member has their temperature taken when reporting for work.
Because the courts aren't in operation, our staffing is low, so we're allowing some to take time off to mitigate.
The sheriff says cells and common areas are sanitized whenever inmates leave those areas to take a shower or eat, practices that have been in place since the H1N1 pandemic more than a decade ago. Co-pays for inmates at the Monroe County Jail are being waived to encourage them to get medical attention if they don't feel well, and every inmate is being assigned a bar of soap and or hand sanitizer, but the sheriff says those precautions only go so far.
I have a concern that in the future that if this becomes really bad, that we'll be having to operate a hospital with ventilators here in the jail simply because there will be no place to take them.
Attorney General Curtis Hill says he opposes any effort by the ACLU to let prisoners go home during this pandemic. He says that decision has to be made by the governor's office per the Indiana Constitution. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Adam Pinsker.
Now, this week, the state Supreme Court rejected a petition from the ACLU of Indiana to release jail and prison inmates at risk of COVID-19. The ACLU's request urged the state to at least temporarily release jail and prison inmates who are in high-risk categories from the virus. The Supreme Court said the power to revise sentences and make release determination rests at the trial court and county level. Across the state, first responders are coming face to face with the coronavirus. Many firefighters, EMS workers, and police officers have been quarantined, and some have contracted the virus. Bob Zaltzberg reports on the extra precautions departments are taking to try and protect themselves and ensure their units stay fully staffed during the virus pandemic.
Indiana State Police Public Information Officer Kurt Durnall says police officers couldn't avoid working with people even if they wanted to.
We're always going to have interaction with people. That's what we do, whether it's out on the street, whether it's right here at our facilities. Folks are going to come in and we're going to have interaction with them.
Knowing that, the Indiana State Police has policies in place to be ready to address all communicable diseases, not just COVID-19. They also have tools.
The rubber gloves, the respirators, the masks, the whole outfit that we put on to help guard against anything.
He says state troopers and other police officers undergo regular training so they can be ready to deal with what comes up.
We're training continuously, no matter what the scenario is, no matter if there's some type of virus that's making news waves. We're always training and preparing for that instance that it might happen, and it might save our lives, it might save your life. So that's what we're training for right now.
Both Durnall and Bloomington Fire Chief Jason Moore say their departments get regular updates from numerous agencies concerned about safety. For instance, Moore gets tips from the Monroe County Department of Health, Indiana Homeland Security, and the International Association of Fire Chiefs.
The big thing for us is this is not a lot different than, we're at the peak of flu season right now. So for us, it's making sure we're deconning our equipment very well. IU Health has instituted a policy with 911 dispatch so that we're pre-screening people that have signs and symptoms of coronavirus or flu, so that alerts the emergency responders and gives us a heads up about potentially walking into a situation where we could be exposed to this.
He says that kind of communication is crucial.
If we think you have it, we can give you a mask, we can mask up, provide extra, protections for our employees. But realistically, everyone has to kind of do their part to prevent something like an illness like this becoming an actual pandemic.
He also encourages people to share information with the 911 dispatcher.
And the more that we know before we get there, the better equipped we will be to not only help you, but also to prevent ourselves from getting sicker and again, being unable to help other people.
Moore says he knows outside influences can affect his department and others. Emergency workers have lives outside of their jobs.
We do have internal discussions about what will happen if all the schools are now closed, and we're working parents as well, so what would that look like with staffing and everything else.
He says he would be able to call in off-duty firefighters from his 100-person staff if needed to fill in for others who couldn't come to work for one reason or another. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Bob Zaltzberg.
The state's EMS medical director says 75% of EMS provider agencies have adequate levels of personal protective equipment. The governor signed an executive order this week allowing retired EMS personnel to return to service. Coming up next on Indiana Newsdesk. Gun sales are booming. Americans purchased more guns last month than at any other point in the last 20 years. And the CDC is recommending you wear a cloth face covering when you go out in public. Ahead, a how-to on mask making using things you already have at home. These stories and more right here on Indiana Newsdesk.
The WTIU WFIU news team connects Indiana to the world. We bring you the top news of the day on radio, TV, and online. We round up the stories that have people talking each week and dig deep into the issues that affect your community the most. The WTIU WFIU news team is where you are and telling your story.
In a time of change, where can you find in-depth reporting and thoughtful analysis? Washington Week on PBS. Join moderator Robert Costa.
When I was at the Capitol this week, I encountered the same.
And a panel of award-winning journalists.
You're seeing a divided nation, and you're seeing
for insights and perspective.
Tonight there was a key development in the Senate.
You won't find anywhere else.
What a week.
Washington Week.
Welcome back to Indiana Newsdesk. Well, several local businesses experienced a boom or bust reaction when the threat of coronavirus became serious in Indiana. Ethan Burks tells us why people were rushing to gun shops of all places.
You've probably noticed empty grocery aisles and pharmacy shelves picked over, but what you probably didn't notice were people loading up on guns and ammo during this pandemic. After 10 years in the Marine Corps, Matt Barthold opened American Arms Gun Shop on the southwest side of Bloomington. From March 16th to the 21st, his business spiked to heights he'd never seen before.
From the time it opened up at 11 o'clock till 7 o'clock at night, it was packed full.
Barthold says customers lined up to wait 15 to 20 minutes just to talk to someone for help.
It's people who never thought they'd own a gun. They want to own one because they've had more of a scare thinking that now they're going to be stuck at home. Or, they think somebody's going to now break in.
Barthold says it's through this sense of fear that came over people when the coronavirus started to spread that brought them into his shop.
But yeah, it has gone up. We get people now who have never owned a firearm, want to come and buy firearms.
When asked if there's anything to compare this to, Barthold says the Sandy Hook tragedy in 2012 is the only other event that resembles a similar increase in firearm sales.
Gun sales went up tremendously because they talk about taking guns away. So it's kind of the same thing.
This time, several politicians went the opposite way. Indiana Attorney General Curtis Hill came out publicly and said this health emergency shouldn't disrupt Hoosiers from the right to bear arms. The Trump administration also declared gun stores an essential business that should stay open during the pandemic.
We want what's best for the community, not just, hey, that's just to sell you something and make money off it, because it's not.
Barthold says the profit margin on a new gun isn't very high, only about $20. He says a burst like this isn't healthy for the business, and he'd rather operate under normal circumstances.
It's not a huge profit. If it was, you would see this place just packed full of guns, and it'd have tons of employees working and doing stuff. It's not that way at all.
Despite a massive boom one week, Barthold says he wishes things were back to normal. Just an average 11 to 7 workday, but there's no telling what will happen during these unprecedented times. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Ethan Burks.
FBI figures show that March saw the most background checks since the system began in 1998. Gun control advocates worry the surge will lead to greater gun violence, especially among first-time buyers who may not be able to get proper training. In Iran, health officials say over 4,000 people have died of COVID-19 and more than 60,000 people have been infected. George Hale has been speaking with Iranian Americans here in Indiana. George, what have you been hearing?
So I started talking to Iranian Americans last month when the crisis there was sort of at its peak. And I wanted to hear what they were experiencing watching it before it really hit here. I also wanted to ask what they thought about U.S. policy towards Iran during this crisis. Hussein Banai is a professor of international studies here at Indiana University. Let's hear what he has to say.
This is probably the first major global shared experience of crisis. And for me, it started obviously with Iran, having family members be affected by it, and then so quickly see it reach here, where our own families and friends and networks of colleagues and everyone else is affected by it too.
So he's sheltering in place like many of us here in Indiana, but he also has family and friends in Iran, and so he has sort of a unique insight about what's going on there. And unfortunately, his grandmother actually died as a result of the coronavirus, and then several of his relatives have been infected, and so far one of them has died.
George, did you get a sense of how people feel about the Iranian government's response, and then how does that compare to what other countries are doing?
Yes, so it's interesting talking to Banai, because not only is he, an expat, but he's a professor, political scientist as well. And so, I asked him about that, and he told me that he thought that a lot of people felt negatively about the government's response. They thought it responded really late, like a lot of other countries did too. And then he also told me that he thought our government had a role to play because Iran is sort of a unique case, and that it's under U.S. sanctions, which might be making the crisis worse.
At just a basic level, that Iran's been locked out of global financial networks and economic ties with countries that it could kind of seek direct help from during this crisis. So at that basic level, the government is way more limited in terms of its contacts than it otherwise would be.
So since we spoke, former diplomats and human rights groups have been calling on the U.S. to ease sanctions, at least during the crisis, and for now.
George, we just have a couple seconds left, but are the sanctions preventing medical equipment from getting into Iran?
I asked Banai about that. He does not believe the medical system is a direct target of the sanctions, but that they might be making the situation worse for the economy in general.
All right, George, thank you very much for your reporting.
Thanks.
Well, farmers markets have long been gathering places where communities can come together and celebrate local food. However, the onset of the coronavirus this spring has caused cities and towns to alter those long-held traditions. Reporter Brock Turner looks at how one city is keeping the tradition alive in the time of social distancing.
On most Saturdays, this area is filled with vendors from all over the state, with residents flocking to purchase locally grown produce and listen to live music. But as with most traditions, coronavirus has forced officials to come up with an audible. Thousands attend the Bloomington Community Farmers Market every week. It's one of the state's largest. Locals come for the fresh products and to enjoy the atmosphere, but vendors rely on the market for income.
We rely 100% on the market, and the market is our sole outlet for our products. We haven't developed any online presence.
That's Whitney Schlegel. She and her husband co-own Marble Hill Farm in Monroe County. They primarily produce beef and eggs and have been coming to the market for years.
And in fact, this is the time of year when chickens start laying more eggs than they do throughout the winter months. And so, yeah, our egg production triples from what it is in February.
The city quickly worked to move the market online, and Schlegel says she's beyond thankful. Many of her restaurant contracts are on hold, and she was worried she'd have nowhere to sell them. City officials say arranging an online marketplace was challenging.
But this has, of course, made things entirely different. At first, there was a question about whether or not the market could be held at all.
That's Yael Cassander, the communications director for the Bloomington Mayor's office. She says the city was confident the market could fall within the category of food and food service providers, which would allow it to continue in spite of Indiana Governor Eric Holcomb's closure of non-essential businesses. But the city still had to make changes in order to follow the governor's guidelines limiting crowds. More than 100 vendors are registered for the online market. Shoppers can browse by vendor or product. Then they can pre-order their items and pick it up in a drive-thru at the regular location in Switchyard Park. Last weekend was the first. Folks weren't sure how it would go, but the response was overwhelming. The market sold out of product just hours after opening. Vendors say the lines from the drive-thru market were long, but ask for patrons' patience.
We just hope that that all the customers are will give it another try and let us see if we can keep getting better at what we do.
And across town at the People's Farmers Market, it's a similar story. This market was formed in response to a controversial vendor with ties to a white supremacy group and the subsequent action from the city. Vendors here have been preparing boxes and distributing them in a drive-thru.
And it's been such a tremendous community building experience. Some of the people are putting signs in their trunks when we place the produce and saying, thank you for doing this. And so it was good to get that reinforcement.
Regardless of which market residents attend, farmers like Whitney are thankful to the volunteers and patrons who make it all possible.
It means a great deal to all the producers and all the farmers, and so we're very thankful.
For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Brock Turner.
The city says it will keep the online market at least until current social distancing requirements are lifted. Officials don't know if it will continue the online portion of the market after things have returned to normal. Well, state parks are seeing an increase in visitors. It's a great way to get some fresh air, clear your head, and maintain social distancing. But at the state's most popular park, so many tourists are coming that it's overwhelming the local community.
Brown County survives on tourism. The local shops in Nashville, the trails, and the bike paths in the state park. In the fall, when the leaves are changing colors, the hotels, cabins, and camping sites are booked solid. County Commissioner Diana Biddle says that's what it was like this past weekend, with cars backed up coming into Nashville's downtown. She says the difference is it's April, there's a virus pandemic, and people are supposed to be staying at home. She took to Facebook to make a video, urging the governor to get involved and shut down the state park.
The out-of-county and out-of-state visitors are also visiting our 1 grocery store, 3 gas stations, and 1 pharmacy, putting our local residents and resources at greater risk of an outside exposure to this virus.
Biddle says the governor got her message and responded by closing down all state campgrounds.
We had those opened with good intentions in mind, but it was meant for our state park campgrounds, et cetera, for exercising. And we can't have parking lots full of hundreds of folks taking into our beautiful state parks.
Biddle thinks that will help a lot. If people can't camp overnight, they won't be going to the town's only grocery store and buying food that's in short supply, or going to the dollar store and buying all the toilet paper. She says that happened, and the person didn't even live in Brown County. The governor's new order creates a statewide enforcement team that will respond and investigate any violations of the stay-at-home order. For Indiana Newsdesk, I'm Ethan Burks.
Campgrounds are closed through at least April 20th. Biking and horseback riding on all unpaved DNR properties is temporarily suspended as well. The Hoosier National Forest is taking similar steps. In addition to closing campgrounds and facilities, it's requiring groups larger than 10 people to split up and recreate at least 200 yards apart. Well, the CDC issued new guidance, and now the agency is recommending when you go out in public, you should wear a mask. But there's a shortage of masks, and priority is supposed to go to healthcare workers. So how can you protect yourself while being mindful of the medical equipment shortage? The Surgeon General posted a video showing how easy it can be to make a mask on your own. So no matter how much you're trying to stay at home, if you're like me, you still have to go out occasionally to go run to the drugstore, pick up groceries, but you don't have to be a seamstress. You can make one yourself out of a bandana or an old t-shirt. So you just start by cutting right here, but this is just an old t-shirt, about 12 to 15 inches long. And then this is a coffee filter that we just already cut in half. This we fold in half. The coffee filter here just goes right in the middle, and then this is in thirds, over and over again. And then 2 rubber bands, so a coffee filter, an old t-shirt, and then some rubber bands. This goes about 1/3 of the way in. And then basically these 2 ends fold in, and you can tuck these in like so. It may not look the greatest, but it's okay. It's going to do the job. And then this just goes over your ears like so. And you're done. And they're also recommending that when you take it off, you don't touch here. You lift off and then throw that in the washer. That's all the time we have for today. We'll see you more online at WTIUnews.org.
Indiana Newsdesk is made possible in part by Smithville Fiber Internet, streaming TV, home security and automation in Southern Indiana. More information at smithville.com. MALLOR GRODNER Attorneys, providing legal services to clients and the community. Understanding, expertise, results. Bloomington and Indianapolis. LawMG.com. IU Alumni Association, connecting IU's network of alumni and sharing the Indiana spirit through scholarships, advocacy, and volunteerism. Alumni.iu.edu. IU Center for Rural Engagement, extending IU Bloomington resources to improve Hoosier lives in partnership with communities and organizations. Rural.indiana.edu. And by WTIU members. Thank you.